what we are trying to offer from our side. So the first, I'm going to set an agenda now. So the agenda would be for an automation will be something like this. We'll talk about the basics of what is automation first, automation versus manual, automation ROI, how company look as an automation, and about Selenium, and what should I know before jumping into the course, and what will I learn from this course content. And of course, you'll see the syllabus, overall the syllabus, and then the frameworks and the live demo. So this is the overall agenda it's set for now. So the first basic question is like what is automation? So in today's world, the automation testing, or what we call, they also call as a test automation. So is the process where a tester starts writing his own scripts and he uses another software to test the own application. Okay, so an automation testing is really used to rerun the test scenarios that are created by manual testers. So when you look at this diagram, so it's a high level, it says something like test script, the execution, the test automation. That's how they were not tightly coupled. Okay, now the most of people start comparing automation versus manual. So generally, why we move to automation? That's the whole talks about in this slide. So in manual testing, generally people feel it's very boring. So no one wants to keep filling the same form and again, and there is nothing new to learn when one tests manually. Or people sometimes tend to neglect the or running the manual test cases. Or some says no one maintains the list of tests required to run all your manual test cases. So when you start comparing with the automation, so automation will be more or like coding, and it will be very fun and very challenged to write the test automation scripts. So what we are trying to replace here is what are the manual test cases you're going to execute. We are going to replace that with the automation scripts, but 100% you cannot replace your manual test with the automation test. Okay. So according to industry standards, so if you can really achieve 60 to 70% of the automation when you compare to manual tests, is really good enough. And also it requires a lot of programming skills, reasoning skills, and analytical skills to really get into the automation front once you are a manual tester. Now, let's give a brief scenario where the how company look as an automation ROI. Okay, so I have let's say there is a company called ABC, and they have a number of test cases. Let's say 2,000 sample numbers. Okay, so now the manual effort for this to execute one test case requires 5 minutes. Now obviously it will take this many hours to execute all 2,000 test cases. And at the same time, if you look at the automation effort, I'm going to develop an automation script. It will take just 2 minutes to execute one single test case. Probably it will take just 66 hours. When you start deducting 168 minus 60, so many hours we're going to save by using this automation. So when you start putting into the calculation, let's say per day I'm paying $60 for a candidate, and try to automate the things. The overall picture here in this example says really you can save a lot of amount when you convert your manual test cases into your automation test cases. Okay, so that's the way the company look generally when they want to convert their all manual test cases to automation test cases. But it is not so easy to do that. There's a lot of challenges ahead, and there are a lot of tools available in the market. So if you talk about the tools, something like HP, QTP, this is very popular licensed or commercial tool. There is a Selenium, there is a IBM Rational Functional Tester tool, Silk Test, Test Complete, Testing Anywhere, Windrunner, Load Runner. There are a lot of tools available in the market, but now our focus is more on Selenium. So now we are going to talk more about the Selenium front. Okay. Now the first question: what is Selenium then? Selenium is an open source tool that is developed by ThoughtWorks company, and it's purely you can automate only the web-based applications. Okay, and the Selenium scripting language, it supports a lot of programming languages like you can see over here is C Sharp, Perl, PHP, Ruby, and Java. So here in our course content, we do with Java and Selenium. And also, when I say open source, the investment from a company side or whatever, it will be a zero price. The only invest the company makes in terms of infrastructure and the human effort uh, to automate these things. And there is no licensing cost involved for this tool called Selenium. This is totally a free open source tool. Anybody can download and automate the things. Okay. Now, coming to the the detail level. So, what should I know? Okay, let's say I'm interested in Selenium. Then what should I know? The tutorials what you have designed is for beginners, beginners with a little or no automation experience background. Okay, but if you have any programming knowledge, then your writing automation scripts with Selenium will be pretty easy. But on top of that, if you know Java, then it will be more fun to start automating the things. That's what I expect. Okay, and okay, I know Selenium. I know basics of programming language. I think know about Selenium. Then what I'll be learning from this course content, the overall. Okay, so if you look at Selenium, Selenium is not just a single tool to automate any kind of a web application, but also it has a lot of other supporting tools that you're going to learn in this course content. So something like WebDriver, I mean the Selenium WebDriver, Selenium Grid to run the parallel test cases, Selenium IDE, it's purely a record and playback tool, TestNG, Apache Ant, Apache POI API, Auto IT tool, wget, and there are a lot of other supporting tools that we are going to study uh, in this course content. So these we picked up according to the industry standards in general, so, and we picked up and we have designed our the course content. So at the end of the session, you'll be developing a live framework for some tool called Anku or Time Tracker. This is a free open source tool. I'm showing the for you the live demo. So the what you're trying to do here is you'll get a corporate touch from the basics to advanced and how typically the life cycle follows. Those things we are going to cover in our whole session. That's all we're going to learn end of the day. We'll get a full corporate a touch or industry standards how generally company tries to automate the things. Okay. Now coming to our syllabus. So we have designed syllabus according to the industry standard. That's what they expect from the automation tester or from the fresher. This is something like a locators, Selenium IDE, a WebDriver, TestNG with Ant, Form. It's very popular nowadays within Selenium. Most of the people are doing a lot of automation stuff using this page object model, and also we see Tortoise, SVN, Maven, the frameworks. We do data hybrid or keyword driven frameworks, and also we see Jenkins. So Jenkins is a continuous integration tool. We'll tend to integrate a lot of our test cases with Jenkins and we'll run the show. And at last the Selenium Grid to run the parallel test cases. Okay, so let me show the high level locators. What when I say locators, what are locators basically? Okay, so I'll go to Firefox, and if you go here, sorry, if you go to Google, I just open the Firefox over here and say right click, and I can see inspect element with Firefox. So this is typically we are going to learn a lot of use cases with the locators. Okay, then Selenium IDE. Selenium IDE is a record and playback tool. When I say within Firefox tools and say select a Selenium IDE, this is what we get. So I can really record from the automation script and then run the show. Okay, we'll touch base more on Selenium IDE with this version 2.4.0. Okay, then Selenium WebDriver. So this is our main focus actually, Selenium WebDriver. So what we are going to learn in Selenium WebDriver. Okay, so when you look at this, the representation, we're going to learn Selenium 2 WebDriver command. So what are the commands we're going to learn? The first command is the navigation part. interrogation part, that is WebDriver, web element, and the locators, and also coming back the manipulation part, synchronization part, how to handle alerts, the different combinations of drivers, the domain specific, how to handle the frames, how the logging, the JavaScript executor, how to handle Windows, how to handle cookies. There are a lot of stuff we are going to do with the Selenium WebDriver commands. If you want, I'll just show up in an Eclipse. Go to Selenium. Just as you have a lot of code, you can see here a lot of code and a lot of exercises that will be given for each and every module. Okay, and then if you move on to TestNG with AND, this also will try to cover once we are done with the Selenium WebDriver. TestNG is purely a framework. I'll just show up how it looks. You can see here TestNG arc. We can download and configure. You can do a lot of stuff with the TestNG and integrate this with AND also. And then next will be a page object model. There's a tortoise SVN Maven. So what is tortoise? Tortoise basically your check-in checkout code. You're going to integrate or write a lot of scripts and check into this tortoise SVN repositories. You're going to download with the Maven, configure and run from Eclipse. Okay, and this is very interesting part for us. So developing a framework. This is what the company expects from automation test engineer. So if you know the Selenium WebDriver, TestNG, and then you can easily build frameworks according to the industry standards. Okay, so we are going to offer a lot of frameworks. It's called the data-driven framework, hybrid, or keyword-driven frameworks. So let me take a couple of minutes to show up how really the hybrid-driven framework looks. Okay, so you can see over here we have done a lot of configuration wise. I'll come back to this frameworks a bit later. So this is how the overall structure looks. And before automating anything, right? So there is some life cycle. So you might have heard in software testing, there is called as a STL, software testing life cycle. In the same way, there is an automation life cycle also. You need to understand the application first. You need to review the available test cases. You want to modify the test cases and design the framework. Start generating the script, debugging, peer review of a script, unit testing of the script, batch run, analyze the test result, make changes based on the result analysis, and hand over to test execution team. This is what the industry does today. So we are in our course, this is what we are trying to do. From scratch, we'll analyze the things. We are going to automate from scratch or we can say from scratch we are going to design the framework. Okay. Now, how to develop a framework? What is framework basically? And how to develop this framework? Once you know about Selenium, you know about WebDriver, you know about TestNG, and you know everything. But how to develop a framework? So according to the industry standard, so this is how it looks. So we have a DB layer, we have a test data, we have report layer, we have object repository, automation script, driver script. So all the common functions, everything is tightly coupled with your frameworks. Okay. Now the question is how the framework looks. So I'll give you one live demo for a time tracker. So before going to the live demo, let me show how really the framework looks. Okay. So here we have developed a framework called as a WebDriver hybrid driven framework for some of the application. This is the configuration files, listeners. There are logs. There are a lot of tests over here, and we have written a lot of utility packages, and we're going to interact with the Excel. So if when I say Excel, I'll show the live demo. So you're going to write a lot of test cases in Excel. These are test case. The area we'll start writing a test case. These are the test steps to automate the the manual test case to versus an automation test case. And here there is something like a data. It's called as a test data for a given login screen. Okay. So now once we are done with this, I can easily start writing the test cases within the Excel sheet, and probably I can just run the show by using a TestNG and AND. Okay. So what I'll do now, I'll create a lot of TestNG stuffs over here. I'll just say right click and run as a TestNG suite. So before that, what this framework is trying to do over here is there is a tool called Anuko Time Tracker tool. This is basically a time tracker tool. It's a free and open source tool. You can log in as guest, and we can start filling, you know, the time sheet according to the day, or you can pull some of the reports, project, task, user, and you can export the data. This is a very small tool. It's a very open source tool. Where once you're done with the course, we're trying to automate these uh, application using Selenium WebDriver, TestNG, and with this framework. Okay. So now once I run this, right click and run as TestNG suite. What happens is it will open a Firefox browser. It will log into the application. That's what it does. Yep, it opened up the Firefox browser, and URL you can see a time tracker Anuko URL, and it should log in with the guest. See, instead of doing a manual test case, now imagine my automation script is doing. You don't have to do any manual intervention for this application. Automatically, the script is going to log in with a specified set of data, and it will start automating all the test cases that what we have developed. So, as a demo purpose, I have just logged in. That's it. It does just log in, and it will not run any of the test cases. So, what we do once you are done with the course, I'll try to assign a lot of exercises for you guys to develop and enhance this framework according to the use case. Okay, I'll just close this browser. And what about reports? What about reports? How it will generate the reports? So we can see from this slide, this is what it generates a good graphical report by using XcelFrameworks framework. Or else I can go back to my workspace. I can show how typically it looks. Yeah, this is what it says. Just now we've done login test. It says test case is passed. If you click on login test, and these are the data, and these are the things it says about. These are the keywords, this is the object, and this is the data. Okay, so this is the overall the flow of your automation the life cycle. So from scratch we are going to develop the automation scripts using TestNG, WebDriver, and everything, and this very high level show for the hybrid driven framework. In the same way, we have designed other kind of frameworks as called as a data driven framework. It looks more or less same, but there are a lot of pros and cons involved in this, so that we will see once we are in the detailed session. So here also we'll do the same thing: configuration, the listeners, logs, the screenshot, the suite test, the utility, and everything is designed to build your automation framework. Okay, so I'm done with this. So if you have any questions, please